We have legs in the background. That's
Why?
it. Keegan's dead on the couch. That's why.
Oh, fair.
So
She
Mason, I
comes up
don't
to
know
laundry.
if it is intentional that your mic sounds the way it does.
I've been using a different mic. I've been using my
Okay.
headset mic. Hold on.
Okay.
I was gonna say I don't know. The good thing about this is that like no background noise comes in. Is what I was gonna say.
Yeah, there's a
So,
thing
like-
about background noise.
Like
I was just asking.
it's honestly up to you which one you want to use because you don't necessarily sound bad using the headphone
It was just
mic.
notably not the mic I normally hear you on.
Fair. Which sounds better? Which would you guys prefer?
So, because this one, like, you could very clearly hear like a fan or something on in the background. At least it sounds like.
Sometimes, like you were good then.
Yeah.
For some reason, but other times, like you do get the background noise. But on the other hand, the other mic, you sound like you're talking to like a tin can.
Yeah, the other one's like an Xbox microphone,
and
but
there's
zero background noise comes.
And like, there's some charm to that. I won't lie to you.
One, two, where the fuck?
So everything's getting set up. I have some fun. I have a couple. I have not done much this week. I just have a couple of fun things to share. Some fun occurrences that have happened. There it is. Because like I have played Monster Hunter World, Wilds. I've beaten. I want to say I've beaten main story, but that never feels like the right way to. I've rolled credits once.
Yeah,
I rolled credits. Is the best way to word it because like these games' stories keep going, that's not exactly right. I have read some things that came out today. I did not get to Ichi. I did not get to Embers. I did not get the Star of Beethoven.
Those are the three that honestly I think had some of the strongest weeks this week, aside from Kagurabachi.
A really good Kagurabachi week. Blue Box incredible. I did not read Drama Queen yet. I did not read. I'm like 4 weeks behind on Sid Craft, and I do not necessarily care. I did not read Ashi, and I did not read, as in Ashi dribbles through, and I did not read Sirens Won't Sing For You. But that's also a bonus chapter, so I totally could have. I'm also behind on Insect Girl and Stellar Friends. I do want to say, because I loosely talked about it last week, there are now 3 chapters out of Chuck Beans. That's not bad. That's actually, I kind of like what they're doing with it. Because so far, the premise had that, first chapter, the premise was, man does not want to give in to the manga plot that is Random Bean from the future is trying to fix his life. And the story kind of just keeps going with that, and it kind of makes this protagonist pretty likable and actually, like, interesting. Because he is kind of just like, no, I don't want your help solving this problem. Get the fuck away from me, you weird bean. And other people, we finally got to the point where other people have seen the bean, and their response has been, what an adorable bean. The comedy's okay in that. I'm trying to double check. Other new manga started a few days ago called Beast Orange. It's about a tanuki who wants to work so that he can buy ice cream. There is full-on nudity in that first chapter.
What?
Maybe not peak action.
Because there is a woman who is a wolf, who then becomes not a wolf and is just naked. Kind of crazy that's just there. Yeah. Crazy.
Wild.
Yusei Kagurabachi, great chapter. I agree.
Yes.
You don't know that Elusive Samurai is cooking right now. I would love to tell you things. Here's what I can say. Because I do not believe any of you listen super intently to what I've said over the weeks about Elusive Samurai, so I do not think you will necessarily be able to connect too many dots to spoil things. What I will tell you is that this week's chapter, have to check notes. It is chapter 195. And we just got a character reveal about Fubuki that is fucking insane. Perhaps unhinged and deranged. You are not allowed to go look at this chapter to figure that out, because things that happen in this chapter are massive spoilers. Like, I cannot explain to you how much this section of the manga relies on you having read the rest of the manga. But yeah, fucking wild shit. Thank you for the heads up about Hematon. Always appreciate it. Always good. I guess I should clarify for reference. If it's just one of the female characters in a bathing suit, I can get away with reading that. That's fine. I do appreciate the heads up of he's in a hot spring bath. That is very appreciative. It's always good. It's always good to not open the chapter at work and just have titty in my face.
Mm-hmm.
I feel proud with this.
Especially given the context of that manga. But so some fun little stories real quick. Firstly, I got absolutely bodied today at work, by a customer on the phone. So, I'm helping a woman deal with a problem with an order that makes no goddamn sense. So I passed it off to a manager, and the problem still made no goddamn sense to her manager as well, but they managed to figure a solution out. But so my manager is talking to them and goes, and she goes, yeah, so I have this order number. Is it the right order number? And the customer goes, yeah, that's the number I gave the lady who helped me. What can you do? Just apparently I cannot escape the fact that I sound like a woman over the phone.
Damn.
Who's to say? To which my manager looked down at the phone, turned to me, and went. And I went, what do you want from me? What do you want me to do? Nothing I can do. D&D happened Thursday. We are level 16. That feels like it is relevant to state, given the context of the story I'm about to share. We are traveling between different worlds at this point in the story. So we are at Orth, which, if you don't know what Orth is, it is where Morden Kanan is from. It is the Greyhawk setting, I think. I want to say that's right. I might be wrong.
I'm not sure.
Because Kryn is Dragonlance. So I'm pretty sure this is Greyhawk. So we're going to Orth. We're going to Orth. And we drop in on a beachside. And there is 4 adventurers and like 16 archaeologists on this beach fighting a kraken. And so we go, yeah, we should probably go do something we should probably go help them. Our party has a College of Dance bard and a paladin oath that I can't think of what it is right now, but gives a bump to initiative. So our paladin gives us +5 to initiative if everybody is within like 10 feet of them. Or bard can roll his bardic die, which is a d12, and add that to our initiative. So our initiative count's crazy. The Kraken went first. with a 39, the Kraken went first. We are level 16. So the Kraken almost kills one of the adventurers who is fighting it, grapples it, and also lightning bolts one of the other adventurers, because we are not necessarily engaged yet in the combat. A couple of us move closer and try some stuff, and it doesn't necessarily work too well. and then it also blinds a couple of the adventurers and 2 of our party. Or fighter walks up, does a good amount of damage, and is about to end his turn and looks to my character. He goes, "You're the ranger. Is it worth going all out on this Kraken?" And I'm sitting there and I'm like, it's the first fight of the night. The Kraken actually doesn't look like it's like... It actually looks like we put a little bit of a dent in it, and the adventurers have kind of helped us before we got here. It's like, maybe we could get away. And I'm thinking about it. I'm like, there are 16 archaeologists on this beach. Let's not have them die. Yeah, send it. Just full send it. He goes in action surge and takes his additional 3 attacks, and he crits on all 3 of them.
Jesus Christ.
The Kraken is on like 5 HP, and the turn gets passed to me, and our fighter goes, "You got this." And I fire 1 arrow, and the Kraken dies in 5 turns, in 5 player turns of combat. We didn't even loop a full round. And I was like, what do you do to what do you do to that? It's a full adult Kraken. It's not like what it happens. We then go into a jungle. And Painless describes that there is a creature's body that has been torn apart, very dead, over in a bush. And something is very clearly here in the jungle with us. And I go, "Neat. Everybody stay right here. I will go invisible, and I will look at that body to figure out what killed it." I don't get a lot of information, except for Painless going, "The thing that did this, if it was going to attack you, would attack you right here." And I go, "Neat. I will climb on top of these rocks and see if I see anything." And all of a sudden, an ominous voice is speaking to me. And Painless goes, "You've encountered one of these before on your adventures, but this one's much older. It's a green dragon." And I go, "Oh, lovely." And I go, "In Draconic, I'm gonna tell him we mean no harm and we're just passing through." And he goes, "Cool. You're going to this tomb. Take these 3 seeds, and you're gonna put them in the tomb for me, and I'm gonna let you guys pass no problem." And I'm like, "Would you let the other people coming through pass?" He's like, "Are they as strong as you?" I went, "No." And he went, "Then they won't even know I'm here." And I went, "Cool." And we walk a little bit away, and I'm like, "So here's the deal, guys. There was a probably ancient green dragon in this forest, and we're just gonna plant these seeds in the tomb." And the party goes, "Well, why would we do that?" And I go, "Do you want to fight an ancient green dragon?" And they go, "But we don't have to plant the seeds." And I went, "Do you care?" And they went, "Well, he's probably evil." And I went, "Do you have a problem with the evil green dragon expanding his lair into the evil tomb on a planet we aren't from, that we're only going into the tomb once, hopefully, and getting the thing we need and leaving?" And they went, "You know what? Good point. Actually, fuck it. Let's do it. We're just gonna go. We're just gonna send it." We get to this tomb. There are 3 pathways in front of us. The left says "Danger Fire." In front of us, a pits of spike with a small plank on front of it. And the right, well, we didn't get to figure out what the right was because our fighter walked forward and got shot by arrows and took 60 damage.
Oh.
Only to get the hallway and find a sign that said, "Yeah, there's nothing here, buddy. Good luck. Shit out of luck for you." So then we went, okay, we should probably deal with we should see if there's anything on the left path. It's clearly a fire trap. Let's send our bard who has evasion and a ring of fire resist to go deal with that. He took no damage from that trap. We then get over the spike pit, no problem. We open the door to the next room. The next room is a singular hallway that has a weird, ominous green statue and the sound of waves. I go, "Who wants to take this?" And our bard and our paladin walk forward. And before investigating the statue, they turn to the door and they go, "Yeah, let's kick this door down." And Painless, knowing how I feel about this kind of exploration, goes, "Sean, your character watches this happens and you can't help but think, what the fuck are they doing?" And they immediately take like 80 points of cold damage as they get fucking waterboarded in a hallway. And I go, "Cool, let me take a look at that statue." And I go, "What's on this statue?" And he's like, "There's a slot for a gem." And I'm like, "I happen to have a green gem on me." Oh, look, it opened the door. How easy. Why the fuck are we doing it this way? We walk into the next room, and this is the last room we do. And I just want to, because I want to remind you, this night started off three attack critting a Kraken, avoiding a fight with an ancient dragon, to this shit. We walk into a room. There's a small stone
Listen,
beam.
Sean, this is all on you though, because you've been like letting them avoid these problems, and they're not learning their lesson that way. You gotta let them like die, and then the next character will learn the lesson. For
We're
them.
level 16. This
Sean, you
has
gotta let them
happened,
fight the
John.
dragon and die, and then learn the lesson for them.
John, our fighters died twice. There's a reason why he's not the one fucking around anymore. But so we get to this last room with a beam, and I'm like, guys, I think something bad's gonna come out of those slots in the wall. So we have two options. You let me run across this beam and find out what happens, or we all run across the beam and we find out together. And so they let me go first. And about every 10 feet of this 25-foot beam, you get blasted by wind. I get through it, just barely scraping my leg on the pool of acid below me once, and I take like 14 damage. When I get to the middle, I throw up a rope trick so that they can grab that rope halfway through if they need to balance. I get to the end of the pathway and I go, okay guys, this doesn't look too bad. You can probably do this. And our paladin goes, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a rope, we're going to tie the rope between all of us. We're going to tie the front of the rope to the beam, and the back of the rope to the beam, and we're going to all walk down the line. And I go, yeah? That's what you want to do. You want to all walk in a line, hooked to each other, above acid, as you will trigger wind that will hit all of you every time each of you triggers it. You wanna do this? And I want you to know, this did not go well. Nobody died, but things got dicey. To which I truly believe that I am the only person capable of exploring a fucking dungeon without fucking killing myself. It should be noted the last room we closed off in, I have a scimitar of sharpness coming down on my head because I walked past a statue holding it that I knew was holding it. But I stand by my point that I am the only person capable of exploring a dungeon without killing myself. But that's, yeah, those are, you know, I love D&D. We do dumb shit. We're not playing this week. I'm very sad. Which means we might be playing something else on Thursday. Who knows? What have you guys been up to? Anything?
I play Pokemon. One of our buddies is in town for his wedding this week, and I had Austin make me and some of our other friends a bunch of Pokemon teams to play at a local today. One of our buddies won somehow with those teams out of the 11 players. I finished second, and then the buddy that won, his brother, who also plays with us, we got third, fourth. So we somehow, with three of the shitty ass, terribly built teams that Austin made for us, except Parker's is actually pretty good, finished 3 of the top 4 spots in the event, which is funny. I had a Pokemon called the Turnitus that I was using. Turnitus is not good. It's funny. It's very funny. It's not good. I had Cobalion, who's built to be basically Zamazenta Light. That mon sucks. I brought it like 2 times ever. It was garbage. But it had Grassy Seed and Iron Defense and Body Press, so it had there was the concept of a plan there. That's about it though. There wasn't much else. Meanwhile, Parker had just like a pretty relatively decent meta Koraidon deck, or build that I was like, that seems a little bit not balanced, Austin. But things weren't made to be balanced. They're made to be funny. And indeed it was. I frauded the shit out of some people. It was great. Yeah, we had a good time. And look forward to the wedding this weekend, which also will be up here for at some point that we have to figure out plans for. But that's a future problem.
Who needs to plan? It's fine.
We need to make food, and so we need to figure stuff out.
What
but
day is that, John?
we kind of figure it out.
Friday.
The wedding Friday. So yeah, that'll be fun. Outside of that, I've been working and playing Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter.
Where are you, John? Check it.
We just killed the sludge.
Okay.
Yeah, we just killed the sludge. That was fun.
That's one of those fights that if you're not paying attention can get really bad.
Thankfully I have an Amber that plays distraction while I just get to use the twin blades and the longsword and go wee. I learned how to do the twin blade thingy, and so like it's really fun because you just like you click buttons and you get a wound and you go, oop, it's wee time.
Yeah.
And you hit the wound and you go wee, and it goes like 4.
Fun
And
fact.
they're like, oh, it's not a lot of damage. I'm like, no, it's a lot of 4s. It does a ton of damage. Trust me, don't look at it.
Fun fact: every weapon has this.
Well, everyone happens that, but none of them have the fun wee that
Well, yeah, everything has its a
No, it does.
unique hitting a wound with the focus attack.
I know that. That's not a big deal. But but not everyone goes wee across the body and like fucking full attack on Titan.
Yeah.
But yeah, the longsword one's fun, but not as fun. And then I have like I use like that longsword, double daggers, and then I use hammer as another weapon occasionally to come in and swing. I'm thinking about picking up the horn, just because I think it's kind of funny to sit there and
It's
buff
so
her
funny.
while she does all the work. So we'll see. But yeah, game's good. Good time. Monster Hunter.
I have also been playing Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter.
But most of my gameplay has been me going, I guess I should try out the other weapons. So I've been slowly working my way through other weapons. I had been trying Hunting Horn for a little bit. I wish I was good at Hunting Horn. Maybe it's just because the inherent slowness that comes from running. It isn't a weapon that plays very fast. It plays very slow. And a big thing about it is understanding when to time your songs. Because you're mid-song, a monster walks up to you, you're fucked. You're just not giving out your buffs that time. You don't get like the extended buff. There's also an issue I have, and I don't know if it's my controller or inherently with the way the game controls. It doesn't like to let me double input or input twice the like pressing both buttons. If I go to do it twice, it inputs the double one and then inputs a single note immediately after. And that sucks when one of your major buffs is, at least on like the highest level horn, attack up large is Y double B or triangle double circle.
Yeah, I
I'm like,
have had that problem with certain combos. I'm not sure if it's me or if it's the controller or if it's the game. I never know.
Yeah. So played around with that a little bit. That's one I do want to eventually get good at, but like that's on the back burner. Also played the game with Sword and Shield, so like a weapon that doesn't have a block button feels very strange because I learned all these fights with the block button.
I just don't block.
Yeah, I learned all the fights with the block button.
I have a block.
you-
I don't
once-
use it.
Yeah, see, once you like, learn all the timings and shit. Also, power clashes are my favorite mechanic ever in like a video game. They're awesome. And because of that, I
what are
wanted to
power
learn
clashes?
Gunlance. So if you block a thing enough times, and on certain attacks, doing a perfect block sets you in a thing where you kind of just you just kind of spam a button as you push back against the monster, and you're locked in like an animation with them.
Oh, that's fun.
Hey, they're sick.
I don't get to do
Sword
that.
and Shield, you just kind of stab it a few times.
Yeah.
Gunlance, you get them stuck on your shield, and you shove the fucking lance up their mouth. It's sick.
I don't know if Charge
That's
Blade
pretty
has it
cool.
because Charge Blade does have a guard.
don't.
I've never done it enough because I don't guard.
Yeah, I don't know if Charge
Longsword does
Blade
not, but
does.
as a pair.
Because you gotta remember,
but yeah,
I played Insect Leap and daggers. I dodge. I don't block.
yeah. Yeah, so I've been like, slowly going through the weapons. Bow is silly. Not exactly my cup of tea, but like it's silly.
I don't really like how it feels in this game compared to World because it feels a little heavier than it did in World
Fair.
personally to me. But I also didn't spend that much time with it, so
Yeah. So I tried out Gunlance. My brain then immediately forgot every single Gunlance combo because Gunlance actually has like a set of things you need to go through to like do stuff. It's like, oh yeah, you have to use this meter by doing this specific combo into this finisher out input, which you then do another out input after. And I was like, so then I tried Lance because that's the other big funny shield one. I didn't think I would like Lance. It's so funny just sitting there and going, shield. You cannot do anything to me. It also has Power Clash. It also has one of my favorite attacks in the game, where you essentially hold the lance forward and just sprint at things.
yes,
And poke them a bunch of times.
which you can do on your bird.
But you could also do it on the ground and do it back and forth on things and just run through them. Very funny. 10 out of 10. Tried heavy bowgun, hated it. Don't like the way heavy bowgun feels. Because it both wants to play close range and wants to play far range.
Yes.
And also, like, you're able to customize how good certain bullet types are.
Yes.
And my brain was like, no, I don't. That's too much work.
You are
Also,
playing-
working
That's
ammo's
too
too
much
much
work, I'm
thinking.
out.
You are playing an entirely separate game when you play
Yeah.
one of the ammunition-based weapons.
Yeah. I tried dual blades, and it was very much a I don't have a block button, and I don't like that.
Just dodge better, idiot.
Well, it's that, and I'm so used to the fluidity of sword and shield, and I expected it to have that same. I press a button, I can immediately
No,
cancel into a
That
dodge.
is very
No.
much you are locked in your animation, and if you do not
Yeah.
pick the right timing to use your animation, you will be getting hit. But thankfully, the dodge is really good.
Yeah, part of
So-
Yeah.
part of dual blades is also understanding where you need to be in proportion to the monster's body during
It's butthole.
like it's different, right? It sometimes it is that. Some monsters it's not that. Some monsters good luck finding it.
You can be in a spot where you're not hitting armor too, because
Yeah.
because you have tiny weapons, so it doesn't do very much.
But like it is very much like you are learning different patterns than you are if you're
Yeah.
blocking, right? Because like
Because sword and shield and lance, you want to be in the monster's face the whole time.
Yeah. you do not.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
Dual blades and
you're
longsword, you
trying
want
to
to
take
poke
the
at
hit, and you're
areas
trying to
that
beat the
create
stunner.
that like knockdown mode, so you can actually get your damage to charge up.
Yeah.
So if you don't find that, you're not doing shit.
Slopes are cool. Slopes are fun. You should find
And
slopes.
I did try hammer. Hammer very funny. Hammer very silly.
Hammer's really
I do
funny.
enjoy standing there and starting your little spin move animation, just walking slowly at a monster, spinning your hammer. Hammer very fun.
Hammer
It's
also
so
good on
fun.
slopes.
Low key, what is with your fucking slope obsession, Sean?
Because there is nothing like jumping off a slope and nailing a monster in the skull and sometimes
Yeah.
getting them out.
I think my favorite thing about the hammer is that like it's my favorite secondary weapon to have, because it's always good to just have a weapon that I'm like, I'm in your face, let me just fucking bash it a couple times to get you on the ground and then beat the shit out of you.
Yes.
And hammer's good at that.
Yeah,
Really
so
good at that.
And
John,
if I tried other weapons, but I don't think.
slopes give you slides, and slides give you really cool maneuvers out of slides, especially with
There's
dual
not a lot of
blades.
slopies in the areas I've been in so far.
But you can make the same thing happen with like ledges too.
How do you slope?
You
Um,
gotta to jump off of ledges.
yeah,
and
so
Oh,
it's
you
like
kinda,
just
jumping off stuff.
like-
I just
so
use the
like
skeet
run.
for that.
so like you put the weapon away and you run and you will go into a slide if it's a slope, and then you can attack out of the slide, and like dual blades you'll like fly, you'll like spin and fly. Other weapons you just do an attack and then you have a chance to mount.
I do like a good weapon that makes me go wee.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind.
I'm excited to hear your thoughts on Insect Glaive if you ever dabble, Michael.
Yeah, one of the person I know was using it. They had started. And they were getting really tired of trying to get the insects to actually hit the right parts
Yes.
of monsters for
Yes.
essence pickups.
You also have to learn.
Um,
You also have to learn what are the right parts.
Yeah.
Which like in a game like World, where it was a really quick, like the guides came out really quick about it. It was pretty okay. Sometimes they were wrong. Most of the time they were right. I don't know how good Wilds is on that
But
and
in
how
this
much you
world,
want to
where this
have a
game
guide
has
open.
one less monster than the last game did on release, people are just
Yep.
like, game bad. Ew, ugly game.
Game
terrible
bad. There's
game,
literally
worst
no
of all
content
time."
in it.
Ignore the fact it has a higher player base than any other ones on history. Bad
Yeah,
game.
ignore the fact that where it is one less, but also like four of
I,
the ones
I
in base
spent
world
300
were a
hours in
recolored
Monster
variant
Hunter in
of
2
one in the
weeks,
base
and I
game.
finished everything, and I'm bored. It's like, yeah, you spent 300 hours in 2 weeks. Get a job. Like,
Yeah. But like,
Listen,
yes,
I
am I
love Kingdom
slowing
Hearts.
down? Yes. I also have 82 hours in the game already in like 2.5 weeks or something.
Hey, play another game. Fine time.
Yeah.
I had a buddy say to me recently. He was like, "There's no good games coming out," and I went, "Go play a game. There's so many. There's so many other games that have already come out. Surely you have more that you can play."
As they're sitting there playing their Resident MOBA for the 78th game this month, like, oh, no good games out. Time to log back into League of Legends and Dota 2 and
I played
Marvel
I played
Rivals.
Fortnite with him. He had Power World open on the side, as well as like 2 other things. I was like, bro, what
Well,
kind
you
of
gotta
setup?
lock into one
what
thing,
kind of
though.
setup
Your
you got?
Your ADHD is having a fucking aneurysm right now.
Other things, Michael?
I started Wander Stop, like the actual full game, because that came out. I haven't played much of it. Very much a game you could just kind of pop in, do some stuff, hop back out. That's kind of the whole bit. Sometimes you gotta stop and smell the roses. You don't gotta force your way through anything. Just vibe. Game very good. Music by C418. I mentioned that last week. Fucking phenomenal soundtrack. Good ass game. Good ass vibes. Peak.
Noise.
Also purchased games because the Steam Spring Sale is happening.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, I purchased the Hotline Miami games. Am I gonna play them? I don't know. But boy, do I want to just sit there and listen to the music while experiencing whatever those games are.
Me looking at, I think it's like Far Cry 3 in my Steam library.
Me owning all 3 Mafias and every Arkham game.
That's a good one too.
I'll get there.
I enjoyed the
day.
bit that is
You'll
there
be
was
there.
like a recommended games screen. It was like recommended because you've recently played games with hunting, and also recently played games with dragons. And I'm like, bro.
It knows.
And it's like Big Titty Bathhouse 7
Cabela's. Just Cabela's.
with guns.
Hey, Austin, what have you been up to?
I was at a separate wedding, separate from the one that we are going to next week, but that was on Monday morning, and you may be like, Austin, who gets married on a Monday morning at like 1 p.m. and it's
4 people.
It's the kind of people that want to get married on Mario Day.
Good choice.
The groom walked out of his popped out of his van wearing a fucking Mario hat, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? And then we went to
Oh.
Kalahari afterward.
Did you say, all right, let's go?
He walked out to or the bride walked out to Little Root Town theme. That was
Nice.
very cute. What else have I been doing this week? I haven't really done much of anything this week now that I think about it. Kind of fucking off and doing nothing. Just I haven't even been reading. I've been like stuck on the same chapter of Apothecary Diaries for the past like week because I just haven't picked it up. But yeah, I haven't really done much of anything. Not playing Monster Hunter because I don't have it.
But you could.
I could.
down.
but-
Is
Okay,
it
well-
on sale right now too? Is that right?
Probably not, because it just came out.
I thought I heard it was still on sale. I thought I heard they're insane.
I'm like that won't stop Capcom.
Let's see. It says $70, so
Okay.
Oh, that's
That
a
is
no.
not on sale.
That's a
That
no
is
for me, dog.
terrible.
Mace,
That's on sale for full price.
what have you been up to?
So not a whole lot. Just my usual like RPGs. We had X-Men today. We had Alien earlier this week. That game is wonderful as always. It's just terrifying. Someone died. It was great. I've been playing a lot of RuneScape. Whether that is something I like or dislike, we'll see. But I've put a lot of time into that game. I will say the humor in that game is top notch. It's just dad jokes and puns all the time, and it's just really funny. Aside from that, I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh as well. Just a lot of Master Duel. True Draco's funny. Yeah, my life has been pretty boring recently because just working so much. But yeah.
Okay. Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're an anime podcast. And as such, we'll be talking about anime. 5 of them in particular. That's right, we're down to 5. We will be down to 4, but 5 right now. We're talking about episode 9's in week 6. Lots of numbers. And all that you need to know is that there's more numbers coming your way because that's right, baby. It's time for the PR. There are going to be...
Yeah, I did make one of those.
Yeah, there's going to be spoilers in harsh language.
Yes.
How did that open like that?
especially the harsh language. You know?
Especially the always harsh language.
Yeah.
Especially at each other.
Yeah.
Probably. Maybe.
Maybe.
Oh.
I guess it's the first week where there's like a pretty. I don't think it's gonna be a consistent like this should be the thing voted off. But I don't know. Maybe I'll just cry.
it's something this week. We're gonna talk. There are certainly thoughts across the board.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess you've shifted over to the scene. I don't know.
Yes.
much.
Mason, I'm gonna need you to stop copying my top couple.
Continue having good opinions. Idiot.
You know, fuck. I'll do what I want, Mason. You can't tell me what to do. You know, on second thought, Sakamoto all the way, baby. Top of the charts.
We can start, Michael.
Anyway, flower.
Solo leveling's
and
coming in. Solo leveling
Asura.
#1.
Ooh, not sure about that.
Give Michael a second to
Okay,
get some
it's just
names
kinda
ready.
hard
Yeah, I'm trying to get the names. I
Well, I'm
keep
like, get the name right.
forgetting what button to press.
I want to read solo leveling. There's been memes going around on the internet that it's like hamburger, hot dog, pizza, hamburger, hot dog, pizza, hamburger, hot dog, pizza of like every arc, and it's like, yeah, it's a battle action shonen. What did you expect it to do? Of course, it's gonna be battle action shonen stuff. There's nothing wrong with hamburger, hot dog, pizza. That's all I'm saying.
Fair. So I still haven't. I'm really bad at finding stuff on these websites.
You need me to link you the page from now?
I'm on Annulus. It's just significantly farther down on the list than like my brain expects it to be, because there's a lot
Okay.
of shit this season, and also a lot of sequels. But anyway, this episode, we're going to a joint training camp.
They heard us talk
some-
shit last week.
Yep.
So they're going to a little training camp. That Kichi Doji goes, yeah, you guys, we're going to a training camp with this school and this other school. I think neither of them schools we had heard of. Maybe one we had like vaguely heard the name of from
technically
Coxway earlier.
Technically, we've heard of the one because they mentioned that Toga's old, like, broadcasting members go there, to which we see none of them.
Yeah. Why? Because we're following.
Yeah, we're doing
We
something
didn't
different.
need more characters.
So we get there. We meet the two teachers that are kind of like running the whole thing, or like not teachers,
Yeah.
people that they're radio broadcasters. I think it was. I'm not gonna find their names. I just know I believe they're sisters based off they have the same last name.
Their names are Monica and Monica.
Yeah. No, they are two separate people. They just have very
Ah.
similar first names. I thought I was going insane.
It's Monica and Monica Hayanashi, I believe.
Oh, are they sisters?
Yo, they got.
Because
Yeah,
I want to
they're
say one of the names was exactly the same between the two of them.
Okay.
They're sisters.
Who the fuck names their kids like this?
People.
Apparently.
Well,
But yeah, so
To be fair, there's a worse name coming up.
what do you mean? That's
Bosomoko.
yeah. So we get there, and then Usura immediately, or someone immediately notices Usura. It's like, oh my god, look, it's you. And it is peak character Pokoko Botan Poko. She is apparently like, first thing, she's tall. She's really tall. They get a point that everyone's like, oh hello, like look at at her. But
Can I quick
yeah.
just say my initial thought when I saw this character was the main character from Kageki Shoujo mixed with Asuka. That's just all I could think
Yeah?
of.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, so that they get split up into their things. The recitation group and the PA group get split. Toga's not here because he doesn't do this shit. He makes videos, and does audio shenanigans. But Hana goes to the room that they're doing their whole thing. So they get to the room. It's Usadai, Hana, and Ryoko. They walk in, and Usadai makes a loud noise because she is Usadai and a dingus. They all walk in. They sit down. Hana. I don't remember if Hana sits down first at her table, then Ling shows up.
Yes.
Whatever. Yeah. So she sits down, and then this girl shows up, and she starts speaking, and you're like, damn, that is a person who speaks Chinese. She says her name, Ling Zhang. It's like, damn, that is a person that is Chinese. We've done it. And then another girl shows up. Her name's Misaki. She sits down. And she's like, they're like, oh wow, look at this. Look at the three of us all sitting here chatting it up. And then like randomly Misaki pulls out the, hey, so have you heard anything about not? Oh, and then like immediately cuts to someone else talking about something, and I'm like, oh no, she has a connection. I don't like that. I don't want that to be where I don't want that connection right now. We want happy moments.
Nope, not allowed.
Yeah, no, not allowed. But yeah, so they're doing they're doing the little practice stuff. The one woman gives them a and passage like, yeah, it'd be literally impossible to help you guys on every single passage you guys are trying to teach or do for this. So I won't. I'm gonna have you guys all at the same passage and have you all work on it, the same one. And then Pokeko just starts saying it out loud to the whole class because she's her. She got like she's like got one of the really high placements in like one of the recent competitions or something. I don't remember exactly which one.
She's the only person I think out of these sets of schools to be a finalist.
Yeah, she cooked. And she's doing the reading the passage. And people are like, damn, she kind of cooked with that. And then Hana's like, damn, I want to cook. So then she starts doing it, but like significantly quieter to just the three of her people. And it is really neat. You immediately hear a very big difference in how she is reading it. And then the one person walks up and goes, were you by any chance in drama club? And she goes, no. The person goes, damn, you read like you're in drama club.
Damn,
which like
you want to be in drama club?
which does kind of help with certain things. But some passages, it'll actually just make it worse if you try to force it through a very like emotional like, because she gets very in character with her readings, and some passages that don't fucking work. And she's like, damn. I don't think we see Ling do actually anything here outside of exist. She's just the person from the third school that Misaki isn't part of. But they all exchange contact info, whatever. I don't remember if like Eddie, and I think like this section, it's like, okay, it's time for lunch. Misaki goes, hey Hana, could I have lunch with you? And Hana goes, I mean, sure, but like I also plan to eat with someone else, so like, sure. We just have gang. We know who this is because they set it up early. Natsue wanted to eat with her. And if you connected the whose name she was saying, you're like, oh no, we're just going into this. So they meet. And we learn Misaki's actually a person we've heard mentioned vaguely before as Natsue's childhood friend. Damn. So they're outside, they're eating. And Misaki is just the biggest yapper that has ever existed. Holy shit, is she yapping? She just be speaking words. And we learn that Misaki did really well back in middle school. She got like to the finals. She's also in like a slump right now, she feels like. And mainly this is because when she was doing really well, she had Natsue with her. And Natsue is like really good at this. She's like a really good coach at this stuff. And we don't learn exactly what comes out of this, or like exactly why. So part of this kind of gets cut off. Like Natsue just kind of has like a breakdown in the middle of this. She's like, "Shut the fuck up! You're like really good. I was not the reason you did really well. You gotta believe in yourself on that one.
So,
you just gotta use the gifts you have."
So they find Hana. She brings out her laminated poem that she read from the previous competition that she did well at, and she goes to read it, and she starts reading it, and it pisses Anne off because, and I quote Anne, "Since when did you suck this bad?" And then like, she walks away. She's like, "I'm done being here."
Bro really said, "Damn, that shit's ass."
But then Misaki kind of has she's like, "No, I gotta like try myself and not try to be like anchored in." But she also then makes a connection. Yeah, An was kind of like the whole reason I did well at that point. And then also Misaki realizes she lost her phone charm. which is the same, which this a similar charm that An has. We also see that An gives it to her, like some amount of years prior. It's a good luck charm. An finds it on the ground in the school and goes, "Wait a second, that's like the good luck charm I gave to my friend. Maybe it's the exact same good luck charm, perchance." Then she goes and gives it to Misaki, and they kind of like make up bed, and they're like, "Yeah, that was kind of mean to say that." And also, just you gotta like believe in yourself. It's like yes, I probably did help you, but I can't make someone who can't speak good. You have to at least be pretty good beforehand. But yeah. I enjoyed this episode enough. I like what we got with going more into her backstory stuff, because we had like we had gotten bits and pieces of like, we know there was some shit with her past in this group, and we didn't know of this person in the past, but we do like actually finally got getting glimpses into it. Maybe this is the reason she stopped doing recitations, because like Misaki, she's like, damn, Misaki just is the one, like she couldn't see herself beating Misaki at the recitation thing because Misaki was just had the better voice for it. Maybe she wanted to go away so Misaki could win the thing. Who knows? I don't know. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this cast. Fun times.
John, do you do things?
Do I have new things?
Yeah, do you do things?
They
about
read
this?
stuff.
Like you?
They read stuff. Some of them were mid. Some of them were not. I don't have too many new thoughts about the show this week. Like Michael did a pretty good job kind of encapsulating it and what happened. It's just at the bottom for me because, like I said, it's just my least favorite show of what's left. And I don't have any particular grudges against this show. Like there's some shows that we've had on the podcast that linger that are ass. This one's not ass. It's actually pretty good.
I don't know
but
what you're
it's just
talking
not-
about.
What do you mean?
I can't think of a
What do you mean
single
you
one.
don't know about?
Every show deserves its final placement in the podcast.
Sean, how can you lie?
Sean, you
That-
don't even agree with that.
Yeah.
You don't think that's right.
Yeah, I can think of like 5 examples on top of my head, but
Get in the fuck
we're
outta
gonna
here.
ignore
We
them.
didn't know
Five? Just 5?
At least
It's
5.
me as just back arrow, back arrow, back arrow, back arrow, buck arrow,
See,
just flashback.
this is the wrong example because
Yeah, see,
back
that's
arrow
not
is
the one.
based.
No, I think that's the right example.
That's like being like Sorcerer's Stab or Orphan shouldn't have made it so long, and I argue why was other shows bad? Austin?
I thought the episode was good. I thought it was just a little bit lackluster compared to everything else this week. It's very interesting that we get to see more, like, Soon and a little bit more a little bit more backstory, but like the actual like sort of drama thing, whatever that led up to the competition at the end, just like it just didn't really click for me. It's just kind of there, and like maybe we'll get a little bit more a little bit more on that, but like I mean, from what I got from the episode, it's just I didn't really care that much.
Listen.
I mean, the show is certainly fine. Like, I think this is a good show that is in a season of better shows. Like, the show does what it does really well, but it is very niche, and
Bye, Keegan.
it doesn't add a whole, like, it doesn't have a whole lot that is driving the plot forward compared to our other shows, which makes it feel like it's dragging a bit compared to our other shows for me. I think it's still really good. It just doesn't have as much going for it as like ZENSHU and Medalist do for me.
Okay, I'm gonna be the guy who fires bullets tonight.
Yeah.
I've really liked Flower and Asura the past 2 weeks. I thought this week was a step down for it. And perhaps it's because we're transitioning out of things into a new setting. We're at episode 9. What are we doing? Where are we ending this season? What are we doing with it? And yeah, we talked about it. Like, if would be interesting. We mentioned last week, like rivals, competition, things that you would normally expect from like something that is structurally sports adjacent. And we get it. And I feel like the bulk of this episode, nothing happens. I feel like we're introduced to a location. This show does not lean into here is a person teaching you how to do this very well. It's basically all the things we've already heard, with the exception of the conversation with Hana about not acting. I don't think any of the reads this episode are particularly stunning. I think they're all, and perhaps that's because the things we have to work with are not particularly stunning, as like the sources they're reading from. And I just was not really in. I just did not particularly care too much about the Anna Misaki stuff. It felt very. We felt very forced into this altercation and into this setup. I would have liked a little like. If you're gonna take time to do this, I would have liked to build a little more about it. I would have liked to have gotten more time with these characters. And obviously we're not out of this setting yet, so there is still more time for things. But I overall felt like this was a very lackluster and disappointing episode from Flower and Asura when we're getting to a point where you can't have that. Now for me, its major competition this week is Crush at Work. And so like that is an odd place to be. Because I don't think my position on Crush at Work has we're going to talk about it next anyway. I don't think it's really moved much from where last week was. But from a week-on-week basis, I don't think I liked Flower and Asura. I think it was by far the weakest show. There's an argument that I maybe had more issues with a part of a show this week than I did Flower and Asura, because I think largely Flower and Asura is fine. It's just, is fine good enough to survive to be in contention for top 3? When I think one of the other shows it is fighting against that was maybe in that ballpark had a really fucking stellar week this week, which is Sakamoto Days for me. And we'll talk about it when we get there. So... yeah, for me, this just did not do enough of what I thought it needed to do this week at this point in the season.
That's fair.
And I am trying to think of like again, there is nothing wrong with a show being in a position where it's not going to have a clean end, so long as I can see the vision of where we're going with it, right? And like obviously Sakamoto Days has that buff of like it's too core. So like as long as it doesn't end in the shittiest fucking spot possible, looking at you, Don. Like, and even then, even then, like Don was so good it got the top 3, right? Like that wasn't right.
Don was so good it almost won.
Yeah. So like, it's tricky. This is by far the show I am most uncertain of where we're ending, and it's not doing it any favors at this point in the season. But
that's fair.
Austin.
Yeah, so it is now Valentine's Day, and Yui gets asked by the other director, "Hey, can you help out with the retail side of things?" And so while she's helping out with the retail side of things, getting absolutely swamped by pre-Valentine's Day as one does, Masugu gets to go out and fuck around for a while, and he stumbles across the cafe where Some and Hayakawa are just chatting it up, and he's like, "Shit, I don't know if I should go in. Do they know? Do they just stumble into each other? They look like they're having a good time. Is this a normal thing? I don't know." So he just walks in. So he just like leaves, and eventually he runs into Some in the office, and he like sort of talks about or Some brings up Hayakawa with respect to like the accounting side, and Masuku's like sweating bullets over it, and like kind of eventually like offhandedly like both compliments her, which Some is like, "Oh, I know," gets like a little blush and says, "Oh, I never knew that she could be like that." also, and then Masuku offhandedly mentions that, oh yeah, I saw you guys at the cafe. Um, oops. And Yui is still working at the retail side. Doesn't get to see Masuku for a few days, and eventually she just like kind of goes home one day and just like kind of collapses like, man, I am so fucking touch starved down bad. I need to hear his voice, and so she calls him, basically has like a fucking wet dream while still awake on the phone with him.
What if we phone sext? And he goes, what?
Yeah.
And she goes, that would be a weird thing to say, wouldn't it?
and then they have a little like cute recharge moment in the elevator at work, and then they go and then like as Valentine's Day ends and she's actually able to like meet with Masuku like more properly, she's like, I'm sorry I didn't get you any like chocolates, and then he's like, no, your prototypes are good, and she takes like one of the prototypes of the sweets that she's developing, and they walk off hand in hand. That's it. It's just a cute episode. It's
Yeah.
like one of those that's just it's definitely just fine. It's about par for what you're gonna get for the show. So
I really liked the Some stuff this week. Really good follow up for that. That makes it feel like we are still keeping it a focus at, like, because that's good pacing for it. I really like it. I enjoyed it. I thought the moments between them were really good. Yeah, it's just show's doing what it does. I didn't particularly have any strong issues with it this week. Don't have a lot else to say about it.
Yeah, I really liked seeing Somei blush. That was a 10 out of 10 moment. But when the bit's banging, you're like, oh shit. Wait, he has emotions. I forgot. He's like allowed to do that. Oh, but I also did really like the general idea around the like, she hasn't seen him in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
This is just the thing that happens with people. It was like a really good way to do that.
Especially when you're adults and you don't live together
Yeah.
all the time. And
It is crazy to not call at least one another day prior, but I leave it be. They're busy
or just,
working
like,
adults.
texting.
Yeah. Well, they are texting, but like, and obviously it's like you want more than just a text.
I got. Are you
She-
good? Yep. I'm
she
good.
wants a dick pic. Which is like 80% a joke and like 10% not a joke. She kind
So-
of does.
So Michael, you liked the show. You enjoyed parts of this week. Is it just that it is just a show? That's why it's bottom?
I mean, yeah, I don't
It
think any of the shows are bad.
Is it that it has to be something and this is what you've chosen?
Yeah, something has to be number 5. I don't know.
Understandable. Have a nice day.
Mason, you've things you want to talk about? Or not really.
I mean, Flower and Asura is a fine show. It's just I think it doesn't have the same like pop and wow factor that are like the things that I have in my top 3 do.
Okay, but so what about I Have a Crush at Work?
Oh, sorry, I Have a Crush at Work. I was listening. I promise. That was a slip.
I was pretty sure.
No,
I was
you're
pretty sure it
fine.
was, but it was
That's
really
funny.
funny. So I
Yeah.
had to hit you with it.
I don't know,
For
man.
sure.
Bob and Archer are kind of mid. Well, we're not talking about that.
We had talked about it, and we did
Okay,
kind of
yeah.
agree. But
So the show is fine. It's a solid adult romance. Unfortunately, I get uncomfortable during points of these episodes.
you don't like
And-
seeing Masuku shirtless coming towards her face in her fantasies.
No.
No,
I don't like when my fantasies cross over
I,
with
so-
the
I,
anime.
I certainly did tab over during that because I was like,
You were
I
worried
just-
you were gonna see
I-
cock. Is
No,
that?
I was like,
Yes.
I just don't want something to be on my screen.
Boom. Fucking Vine
Sometimes
noise
people just
plays.
walk into my room. I don't know.
genuinely,
Oh.
there are so many points in this show where I'd be totally fine with a fade to black, and it would actively increase my enjoyment.
I don't know, man. I want him to flower my Asura. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't get it.
No, please explain.
No, that's good because I don't know what I said.
I think actually, you know what's really fucked up, John, is that would have been really good if you just would have swapped it. All you had to do was swap the words, and you would have been better off.
I don't know
But
what you
hey.
mean.
That's fine.
I don't know
Yeah.
what Asher means.
What puts the show in a really odd spot, especially for like, Austin, I'm sure has this because he's read everything under the sun, but for like the four of us, we've had even the adult workplace show a couple of times before, and I will say it. I think Senpai's better.
Oh yeah.
And I think
Well, yeah,
the standout
that's-
to me is that the characters are better. Right? I enjoy those four characters way more than I enjoyed the four kind of central characters, if you want to give it to them, because they were all more active in the story, like constantly.
Like I said, this show locks in more on its main two than that show
Yes.
does, where that show kind of like spreads the love a bit more. And it's because like those two aren't in a relationship; they're just the awkward co-workers, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like I think that's it's a good comparison, but it's a little unfair to this show because they focus on the two
Yes.
different things,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Is it perhaps? Go ahead, Michael.
I think that is kind of. I see where you're coming from. Yeah, they're two different enough
Yeah.
shows that my brain doesn't even like make that connection. Yeah, because this is following two people that are in a relationship. It is two very
Yeah.
different sides of the thing.
It has nothing
this-
to do with how I
this does
feel
still
about
have-
the show.
Yeah, this does still have like that same awkward kind of thing that like those kinds of shows have, where you still have the constant like blue balling of the. In this show, it's the will we tell everyone?
Will
I
they
was
have
just
sex?
fucking do
Which
it.
which I will
Well,
say,
yeah, no,
I
Tell everyone.
I'm
Why
not-
is that just still a hidden thing? It's
I'm not a big
kind of annoying after this episode.
I was gonna say I'm not a big fan of the end bit where he's like, "We should," and he's like, "JK, haha, wouldn't that be funny?"
like,
and I'm
"You
like,
should, just do it."
I'm like, "Motherfucker." I thought we were
Most people
doing
probably
something
already
with this, but
assume
no.
it. Like, I don't.
What do you mean? They're just really close at that baseball game, man.
There is
Baseball
also
brings out the love in us.
there is perhaps also maybe a small argument here that this show is too grounded in workplace reality. that perhaps it makes it a little dry because it is a workplace reality. It's like, ooh, these characters
Man.
are as bland as people who would work their jobs. Crazy.
Man,
Yeah.
working sucks.
True.
Work sucks.
I know. Crazy, by the way, that she thought she wasn't gonna be fucking swamped on Valentine's Day in a fucking chocolate shop. Who the fuck do you think you
Sure.
are?
I am.
Yeah.
I did like though that this show is like showing like I guess it said Shomei and the other boss's relationship more and
Yeah.
that he like isn't necessarily like 100% on it, but he's thinking about it. He's like, yeah, we do go to a coffee shop. but
I just
what's
do
about
enjoy
it?
the little
What's about
embarrassment when like he's like, ah shit, someone does know about
it?"
that.
He's like, oh wait,
and it isn't like he just goes, yeah, we hang out there sometimes. And it's like very clearly, I think he's like, oh wait, that like
oh wait a minute,
that's like maybe something.
they're not supposed to know that. That's not.
Well, I also really
That's
like the
just
idea.
cute.
I like the idea of Masaru being like, "Hey, she looked like she was having a really good time," and he's
I've
like,
never seen her this happy
he-
outside of work.
and he's like, "Wait a minute."
Listen,
I
there's
thought
no-
we were just having interaction that was amicable. Hold on a minute.
Well,
This changes
What I will say
everything.
is there's no greater compliment in a relationship than someone saying like, wow, I've never seen that person look happier than when they were with you that one
Yeah.
time. It's like that is like the peak of like, okay, yeah, I'm doing something right here.
It is equal. It is that as well as in my opinion, the
The sex.
well,
What?
Thanks, John. In my
Well,
opinion, the other element of that is like how the person talks about their person when they're not there. Like those are the 2
Mhm.
and like how much they talk about their person when they're not there. Those are like the
Mhm.
real good.
Like how I never talk about my fiance when she's
Ever.
not explicitly in the room, so I can get brownie points. Never.
Blink
Mm.
twice if you have a gun to your head.
Okie dokie, I believe it's time to talk
That
about
was
Zench.
three. That was three. What does that mean?
That means Keegan's got one too.
Go, go, go! Send the troops and get them out of there.
Mason, I believe it's time to talk about ZENSHU.
So ZENSHU this week, we start off with. I need to make sure I get this right because a lot of things happen in this episode. So
I'm gonna
Probably should have.
I'm gonna help and just also so we could throw out what I think is the right way to describe this. We get a reframing for the first 6
Yeah.
minutes, 7 minutes.
So we get to see we get to see Luke's point of view for all of the episodes we have gotten thus far. And it's just short snippets of what has happened, like the main points here, and the main scenes that we've seen him with Natsuko. And it's his thought process on, okay, this is just some random goblin. Wait, she makes me feel this certain way, and I don't get it.
She make me go squeak.
She makes it go bum bum. What the fuck is this feeling? I hate this. I hate her. No, actually, no, this is love. Okay, fine, whatever. But we also get to see during this point Luke's time in the movie. Or after this, excuse me. After this point, Natsuko comes out to like get breakfast. Luke is very like affectionate, but not like proclaiming his love for her like he had been last episode. Says he wants to go just to the two of them again someplace. And she gets overwhelmed with this after everyone being there and goes back to bed. And QJ comes to talk to her. And he basically tells her like, hey, I'm the best at calculating forecasts. Forecast says there's 100% chance of a happy ending. Also, things are like burdens or anything like that. I can see that everything's okay, so you can always talk to me about it. And she ends up telling him the entire plot of A Tale of Perishing, which tells us the entire plot of A Tale of Perishing, because they've been kind of dodging around what happens in this movie this whole time. We find out that after all the people that have currently dying, and then Unio dying, and then all of the voids swarming the town and Destiny dying, Luke ends up going crazy and turning into the ultimate void and destroying the soul future and causing the apocalypse. So that's not great. And QJ says, well, yeah, maybe the author said that you can't really change that. But all of that's things that happened when you weren't here. All of those bad things have now been changed because you're here. So, like, chin up. You're helping. Come on. And then, after this, the Voids attack. And surprise, surprise, the Voids have all of the same things that Natsuko has been drawing again, including the thing that defeated the airship one with all the rockets and stuff is now an airship with all the rockets and stuff. They also have the samurai and
The wrestler.
I forget. Yeah, the wrestler there as well to have Luke occupied. They try and fight. Natsuko gets to draw for a bit. Her desk gets blown up. And it's at this point that QJ sacrifices himself and blows up the airship after Luke handles the two on the ground. And that's where we end the episode.
So I want to, I need to put one thing out, and I want to get the negatives out of this because I think largely we'll all have positive things to say. In your recap, Mason, I just want to point out you forgot to mention the fact that Memilin dies, and I think it's really funny that you left that part out because it just adds to what I was talking about. How we just forget that she's around. She does stuff in this episode. Nothing, nothing important. Anybody with a bow could do what she's doing. But
she's the bow character.
I do think it's really funny that you're like, Unio dies, Destiny dies, so you skip right over the Memilin part because it's really funny in my head. I'm not a big fan of the reframing. And part of it's because it's very recappy. And I also don't like some of the things the reframing gives us. I actually think they hurt the story. So, like, the first thing that bothered me in the reframing is that I don't like the idea that Luke is putting up Natsuko's hair, and I don't like that we see examples of it that we didn't see in the show. It feels very this feels very retconny in ways that I don't like. And like that's just cuz one, I like Michael pointed it out. I like the fact that it felt like Natsuko was like moving her hair out of her face on her own accord to show her character growth. I don't like attributing that to Luke just did it so he could see her face when she
it was
ate.
funny hair.
Right? Yeah, like I think that detracts. And there's an argument that it is like, well, Natsuko is growing because of Luke, so it's fine because it's still the same thing. It's an odd feeling. I also don't like the way I feel like certain things just get portrayed wrong in the reframing, because when he goes to talk to Justice, they're talking about the hot spring, and Destiny is like, "Don't you think you're in love?" At this point in the story, Luke's already shouting that he loves Natsuko through the whole day when they start talking about the hot spring. So you're out of order on that. He wouldn't have had that realization there. He already had it earlier, and he comes to Destiny to get advice about why Natsuko isn't like reciprocating his feelings. This was last week's episode. How did you do that wrong?
How'd you get out of order?
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, I watched these first 7 minutes, and I was like, not feeling this. I don't like that. Like, this show isn't gonna get voted off if this whole episode's a recap, because they're reframing it at least. But it's not doing it any favors heading into the next week if this is what it is. And then it fucking turned it around, and it was an incredible rest, like the incredible like 3/5 rest of an episode. It was great. It was fucking incredible. I loved it. Like it was such an odd tear for me at the start, but props to it for really swinging it the other direction afterwards, because I enjoy fucking everything we get in the back half of this episode.
Mm-hmm. Just everything with QJ. Like, I agree, the reframing stuff is a little odd. I don't necessarily think it was needed either.
I don't hate the idea of it, because I like getting Luke's point of view, and I like I like how it, because before if it was ordered a little differently, like we do get some stuff before the reframing about like Luke and the 9 heroes that we didn't have exactly, and I really enjoy those scenes. There is the scene where the magma guy dies, and it is unintentionally really funny because Luke goes, "Don't, stop talking, you're losing magma," and then his entire animation style changes, and it's the funniest shit.
It's really good.
And like you get the scene where this is another one that bothered me. Natsuko is sleeping, and everybody is there with her, and they're healing her. When the fuck does that take place? Because
they don't specify.
The
but it's after, I think, the
implication,
second time.
that's the thing, but it feels like it should be the first time, and they talk like it's odd where it's put in.
They kind of identify that it's like one of the first few, but they don't specify like which one it is, and it's weird. I agree.
Yeah, like the way it plays out, you think it would be the first time. But the
Yeah.
way they talk, they act like it's happened before, so it's odd. It creates this weird dissonance where it's like, I don't like how you frame this scene. But something you do get out of it, and the reason I'm coming back to it is because I think this is ways that the reframing could have been done better, is you get the bit where Natsuko is sleeping, and Luke's like, and Luke is just looking at her, and I want to say she says something along the lines of, like, "I can't draw."
Yeah.
Which plays in really well to the end of this episode, with her not being able to come up with a solution for this fight because she's stuck, because it doesn't feel like there is anything she can do, and what she's doing is actually only causing harm. Like, those kind of neat parallels are really cool. It's just that there's too much other shit there that bothered me and got in the way for that beginning. And that's why this is below Sakamoto Days for me, is because I fucking loved Sakamoto Days this week, and this week and ZENSHU, I was like, I have problems with you this week.
That makes sense.
Despite how fucking stellar the end was.
Yeah, that's fair. It was. I got to the end of this episode and I was like, "Damn, the show was gonna be like, yeah, we're gonna have a good point. We're gonna have a character death." And I was like, you know, I was like, "Damn, shows just kind of do that." And like, it immediately is like points up for them. And I was like, "But this was just like really well done, so I can't be mad at it for it."
Mhm.
Like it's a very well constructed
Yeah.
like setup into it. Like the moment you like see what's about to happen, you're like, no, don't
Mhm.
don't do that, show. I don't want that to happen.
And I appreciate how I love the direction they go for QJ in particular. I really like, because I think they do a really good job with the writing of Natsuko going, "You're the only one that lives." And you'd know when you get to this part, when you get to the later part of the episode, that is the only thing probably in QJ's mind, and that reinforces his decision to do what he does, and that's really well done.
Mhm.
He also has that great scene where he like before he sacrificed something, he goes, "Hey, right now, without you in it, this world has a 0% chance of survivability. So I'm banking on that." You know, and I think that's like literally we've got nothing of QJ this entire time, and we have like this really, really, really awesome moment where it's like him listening to the entire story, and then him making like the first big sacrifice that originally was supposed to be Yunio in basically the same fight, right? And so it's just, I think it's a really cool like moment for the show to like give this character who hasn't had a ton of love like the big moment, right?
And his fly towards the spaceship is incredible.
Oh,
It's
so
it's such a good, him getting battered by the missiles and like
Yeah, like he doesn't
breaking.
do it cleanly. He gets
Nah.
fucking his shit kicked in and then still gets there, like the goat that he is.
Justice for QJ.
Yeah,
Just
there's
for
also
QJ.
like the very obvious parallel that is, oh well, so like last episode we got the bits where it was like, oh, those lasers are like her drawing, but it's very clearly the first major difference in terms of character things from the movie is caused by voids that she created.
Yeah.
Like it is a very clear like, oh, QJ dies because of something she does, and it's like a very neat thing that this is exactly the moment they pull that. And they go, yeah, these 3 voids are using specifically things she has done. 2 of them are physical drawings just voidified, and 1 of them is shooting missiles, which is not a thing the voids were doing in the movie originally.
Yeah, I can't believe that Luke gets his shit kicked in by Cat Noir and Ladybug this episode. It's crazy.
I hate that I know that reference now.
That show's not bad.
No, show had a good episode. It's just like
Oh,
it's
not
Sakamoto.
ZENSHU. I meant Cat Noir and Ladybug. Show's not bad.
You know, Amber
This show's
watched, like,
fucking
all that and, like,
incredible.
Amber binged all that in the week, and now she's on her Grey's Anatomy. So, yeah. But no, I think this episode was really good this week. I think Sakamoto was also really good this week, and it's gonna be interesting to see like kind of where these shows all end up in the end of this, because it's like we're starting to get where it's like actually pretty debatably close between a lot of these shows, right?
Well, and this is a show that we expect an ending from, right? Like it's
Yeah.
a Mappa original that should have an ending.
Yeah.
Traditionally.
I'm interested to see kind of how this wraps up though, because it's like,
Yeah.
obviously it's gonna start getting to the point where it's like, okay, we're gonna have to make some serious decisions here. You know,
And it's
serious cuts here.
it's really gonna test us as well on like, this ending can be a well done ending, but we just might not like it. And there's like a matter of like how much of, because like things can go certain ways in these last couple episodes that are not necessarily fun and enjoyable emotionally. And it's like, is that gonna ruin this? Like, what do you want from the ending of this show? And does it?
Who else is gonna die? Like, is Emily gonna make a
Yeah,
sacrifice?
I think a
Do I
good
care
ending,
if she does?
I think the best kind of ending this could get is to not have what is like particularly like good ending for this cast, because it feels like the whole idea is that a tale of perishing isn't a thing you can fix.
Yeah.
And like with I guess it's all been setting up the ba-bum, and we've gotten the ba-bums, or your squee if you're watching it subbed or whatever it is.
That's sweet.
I think the other really good thing about the episode though that I think you touched on was the fact that like the very end of Luke's recap I think was really good though, where it's like, okay, this is why Luke like I think it's when she was telling QJ's story, right, where we get the actual end of the story.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's not just he goes into despair, he literally breaks the thing and causes the end of the world and becomes the ultimate void himself, which is a lot worse than we thought it was going to be. So I kind of cut you off there, Michael.
Hey, Because but it's like the whole thing here is like I don't think we're gonna get an ending where like everyone dies. I don't think that fits into what the show's been building up. But I think what's gonna be is that Natsuko's going to either die or find another way out, and that's gonna be the sad
Yes.
catalyst here for Luke
Mhm.
is her leaving. Because it's kind of like the parallel to Destiny's death would be Natsuko
Yes.
going away.
And that is
Um,
what the show's really building.
Yeah, and then she can go and make her movie in real life, whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know.
And it's
Getting-
like-
getting back.
That for me is like where I think that like this can diverge a couple of ways. And in my head it's like if the ending for Natsuko here is she understands what love is, but everybody fucking dies in a tale of perishing. I don't know how I feel about that. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
I'll have to see how
Yeah.
it plays out.
It very much is I just need to see what they do. And
If
You mean
roll
yeah,
with it.
if the ending
isekai.
if the ending's exactly like what you said and what I think the expectation is kind of being built to, which is Natsuko dies in A Tale of Perishing, and the events unfold the same way, but we don't have to see it, that's a lot more easy to stomach, because it makes sense, right? So this show is in a really interesting spot.
Mm.
But also, like, if it's just like, then it's a does Yunio and Memon die first, or if it's just Natsuko, does the presence of the two of them have enough effect to make Luke not break?
Mhm.
I think you could definitely do some interesting stuff, like if you have her like kind of go back like in like episode 11 or something, and then spend like a bit of time with the. Like, we have no idea. We don't know what
Yeah.
they were trying to do with this show. We've
I'm-
never had any idea what the fuck they were doing with
Yeah,
this show.
I'm interested to see where we land on it. And it's definitely, obviously, I think between all of us, it's gonna get the chance. At least next week. Do we have other thoughts about ZENSHU that we want to talk about? Things we want to throw out?
I really like how when they're doing, and this may have been mentioned during the initial reading, but like when they're doing the like retelling of the story, the art style is like very clearly different and
Yes,
more like a
yes.
movie that
It's
was made
so
in like
cool.
the 90s. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, it's sick. It was really nice to see like someone like Destiny and like the oh yeah, that is how they drew women at that time. Like that is just kind of like that specific style of character is very very neat,
What's
very very fun.
something that is like really cool, like meta wise about this show, is that the story of A Tale of Perishing is actually something that kind of started happening very frequently, and I would argue in Japanese media particularly, probably around the time that this is supposed to have been made, which is that a lot of like JRPGs, a lot of games, a lot of movies, a lot of stories had to start doing this turnaround on the general hero story, because like you can only do the general hero story so much, and so the idea of the hero fails, people die, they turn dark, they are the villain, like that is exactly what this is, and how it captures it really well. And a lot of the really early ones had this exact kind of backlash that we see in the world A Tale of Perishing had, where people went, isn't that like kind of a lot to do? Isn't that kind of ham-fisted? Haven't you kind of taken it too far the other direction? And like I really like that kind of captures that really well.
Sure, good.
It is now time to talk about Sakamoto days.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Let me see. Do they have?
I was like, I see your list of it and nothing was coming through, and
God damn it.
Do you
I
think
can
you
hear
want
you
to talk
now,
about
but-
ZENSHU quick, Austin? While I
Yeah,
get
yeah,
what I need.
yeah. Apparently my headset button was just pushed. I was like, fuck. When I first like watched the episode, I was actually like really disappointed with it, and then I sat and thought about it. I was like, you know what? It did kind of rule. Like yes, I still maintain that I didn't like the reframing as we mentioned, but like I think the setup with QJ was like really really cool. I just think that like I think one of the things that pulled me out is just like the flow has definitely felt like really weird with like the last two episodes, and then we're going into reframing into we're just killing off QJ. It felt a little bit choppy in terms of just like the overall flow of the show. But I think the episode as an individual piece was like 75% really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I understand that.
Okay, Sakamoto days. We kick off with Sakamoto. Just fucking had his name. Fighting Kashima. Briefly, very briefly, Sakamoto kind of starts kicking the shit out of Kashima, and then we immediately cut back over to Heisuke and Shin fighting Seba. We find out Shin looks at Heisuke and goes, "Good job," and Heisuke goes, "I'm glad you figured out the plan." And we get another shot of Heisuke's inner thoughts, which are just fucking 2-year-old drawings. And Shin goes, "I'm trying really hard, man. I need you to turn up the brain cell a little, just a little bit." And then we get some more of this fight because Seba is not down for the count. He goes back invisible, to which we get some really cool Heisuke moments here, where Heisuke kind of fucking starts smurfing, and he's like, "You think you can hide from me? You think you can be invisible and I won't find you? My bullets bounce." At which point, eventually, Seba makes his way up over to Heisuke, and they do some fake outs on different things. He fucking takes a bullet straight to the arm, Seba does, and he's like, "Damn, you made me lose my arm." And then Shin goes, No, wait, Heisuke, don't fall for it." And Seba actually just turned his arm invisible, and beats the shit out of Heisuke and kicks his bullets to the ground. And then they conjure this plan where Heisuke goes and gets an extra bullet from Piesuke, and shoots it, and it ricochets, and it actually hits the sprinkler, which causes water to fall on Seba, which allows Shin to just fucking body him into the ground, because he actually knows where he is. There's a moment in this fight where I was about to get very nitpicky, because the whole part of the ending of last week's episode was that he had blood on him, so that they could see him, and then he goes invisible while still actively bleeding, and I was like, what's going on? And I thought about it, and I went, no. The fact was, he was invisible, and blood got on him. And so the blood that's on him when he re-goes invisible is still invisible. So it actually checks, and I was really happy about that when I thought that through for like a second longer than my immediate jerk reaction. So this fight wraps. We see Liu is traveling around with the head scientist. She wants to apologize to Shin. And then we cut back over to Sakamoto and Kashima. And so Kashima's like, you got 20 minutes. You got 20 minutes before this place explodes, Sakamoto. And Sakamoto cracks his knuckles and goes, "Good. That's plenty of time," and starts beating the ever-living shit out of Kashima. To the point where Kashima goes, "But don't you think that you're a little slow, and that you're not killing me?" And Sakamoto goes, "Are you immortal?" And the response is, "Could be. I don't know. No one's ever killed me before, so I could be." And Sakamoto goes, I guess I can find out." Which is a crazy thing to say as someone who is not allowed to kill people, or else his wife will murder him in cold blood. But he tries to find out, all right. A train shows up, and Kashima jumps on top of it, and Sakamoto winds up behind it, and then fucking surfs behind it. We get some bit where Sakamoto has improvised weapons here. He uses a lead pencil, which is really good because the scene is just him dodging attacks from Kashima, mashing the lead pencil, and then flicking lead into his eye. Based.
Very based.
Sakamoto also then cuts steel wire with a bingo card, because you can't stop the man. At which point then they eventually wind up going into a second separate train. We have a real good scene where the train conductor is like, "What a normal day. My everyday routine. Some days I wish it was different." And then they crash through his windshield, and he goes, "You know what? On second thought, I think I was fine." And then everybody's just vibing while the two of them fight through these train cars and kick the ever-living shit out of each other. We get a little bit about Kashima. We find out that some bad people did some bad things to a cat, and that made him really upset, so he killed them. And then people got upset with him for killing people, and he felt like that was unfair because he was just killing bad people, and that should be okay. And then he met Slur, who we see puts an X over his lips and is like, I am your ally. And we'll get more of this in a little bit. But essentially Kashima is like, he gave me purpose, he gave me life. I will kill Sakamoto because Slur is obsessed with him and that is what he wants. And he goes, where is Sakamoto? And Sakamoto is sitting across from him, but he has slimmed down. So much to the point where Kashima can no longer keep up, and Sakamoto beats the ever-living shit out of him. And then they stop because an old lady gets on the train, and Sakamoto goes, Kashima, you have to move. That's reserved seating. Get the fuck out of here. And kicks the shit out of him. Kashima, like, Super Saiyan powers up a little bit here because he remembers what Slur had done for him, which is killed a bunch of people who were not fans of Kashima, and went, you will now work for me. We will now create an ideal utopia. I am now going to paint an X on your lips in blood. And we get a really good, a surprisingly good detailed silhouette of Slur in this episode, which I was not, at this point in the episode, which I was not expecting. That you can almost make out exactly what he looks like in these flashbacks, which is really odd to get from, like, an antagonist character flashback. You normally wouldn't get this. At some point, Sakamoto gets launched into a separate train, to which he runs through the train, jumps through the train, kicks the shit out of Kashima some more, and then locks Kashima in an in-between room and just punches him for what feels like 27 minutes. Sakamoto resolves this fight. At which point he kicks Kashima out of the train. Kashima winds up against, like, the entry point where you have to swipe your boarding pass for the train. And Sakamoto just swipes it and drags him out and calls Shin. He goes, hey, how's it going over there? You have 15 minutes until the bombs go off. This entire fight has taken 5 minutes. And Shin and Heisuke have met back up with Lou. Lou and Shin apologize. It's adorable. And then they go, and Shin starts to use his psychic powers to figure out where everybody is, so they can try to get them all out of the lab because it's about to explode. And so they split up. We get a real good scene where Shin and the head of the lab are running together. And Shin's like, and the researcher goes, "You're really putting those powers to good use." And Shin goes, "Yeah. Turns out your work's doing good for people. Like, your research is helping people crazy." And he goes, "Thanks for that." And then they split up because they see two different people. Also, in the meantime, Osaragi and Shibe are scrolling through camera footage in the lab to try to find Slur, and they do find him. And they go, shit, the camera won't show us his face. How unfortunate. Well, we gotta get out of here. Shit going bad. But we will kill Slur. And then Shin and the head of the lab split up because they have two different readings on two different people. And Shin runs into Slur. And we see exactly what Slur looks like in a very ominous shot that is rad as fuck. Where Shin walks up to him, imagines himself dying due to his bloodlust, and then is physically fucking unable to move as he walks by him. And Slur goes, "Hey, tell Sakamoto I say hi." And then disappears. And the gang gets all together, everybody's happy. Shin gets to hear the thoughts of all the lab people who are excited to see him, happy they saved him, bullying him for being short, calling him a manlet, things like that.
He's so handsome. Wow, he's so awesome. Wow, he's fucking short.
I thought you'd be taller.
Short person
Holy
energy.
fuck, short
Short
king
per-
over here.
Short person energy's a great line. And so everybody parts ways. And then we go back home, and Heisuke has been adopted for dinner. And we get to hear about Sakamoto's daughter's parents' day, and it is wonderful. And Sakamoto wants to beat Lou and Shin up and murder them because they won't stop fucking fighting at his dinner table. I thought this episode was great. I thought the fight animation was fucking stellar this week. This all looked rad.
Yeah.
Skinny Sakamoto's pog.
Also, the most Matt Mercer has talked in the entire show. Sakamoto's kind of yapping this episode.
No joke. I'm okay with it, though. More Matt Mercer.
Like, when is more Matt Mercer, like, ever a bad thing?
True.
Only when there's not as much Pro ZD. Which, fun fact, was also on Critical Role recently. But no, I'm much on like this episode rocked. Like I said, whenever they hit those climax parts and they're fighting, and it's like the big climactic fight, it's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, this
I
was
honestly
episode 3
almost,
of the setup.
I honestly almost liked the Heisuke fight more than I liked the Sakamoto fight, and that's something against Sakamoto fight. It was really good, but like that fight was awesome too.
The Heisuke fight's really cool, like from like a tactical fight. Like I think it's a really cool team up and how they go about their fight. There's a lot of thought put into how you structure that fight as like a creator, whereas like the Sakamoto fight's a beatdown. It's a cool as fuck beatdown, but it's a beatdown.
The show doesn't exactly do anything new, but it's entertaining. I enjoy it.
I was
It just-
surprised. Sorry, go ahead, Mason.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it just does Saturday morning cartoon energy very well, and I enjoy it.
True.
I have a good time with it.
I was surprised by how much of slur we got this episode. I thought that was really shocking.
I love that he shows up like oh shit vibe that everyone
Yeah.
got.
He shows
Where you just
up,
like, couldn't even move.
gives off aura, then just fucks right off.
He's
Which
like,
is
"I'm busy."
which is really what characters in this show do. A lot of the characters in this show do just show up,
a
give
lot
off
of,
aura,
a lot of
and
characters
walk
in
away.
this show just aura farm.
But
Which, to be fair, also happens in Soul Leveling, which I'm watching. It reminded me of that this week.
it does make me think that like he's probably not the manga's long-term villain. He still could be. It's possible, but it's really rare to like this would have to be what, like chapter 15 maybe, if even.
It's probably roughly 25.
That was
if I
that was the
if I was
other.
gonna guess.
But like to introduce your big bad at 25 and have him stay your big bad to like 180, that's a lot. Like obviously you could do it. Elusive Samurai. Elusive Samurai does it.
That's still
Yes.
I mean,
No,
I
he-
assume
yes,
that's
he
still,
is-
he's
yes,
still
he
your
is.
main guy.
But that's like that's a little different in that story is taking place over a long historical time period, right? Like I'm trying to think of how many big tradition, especially with the way Sakamoto is so much like a traditional shonen, like weekly shonen. Like you don't usually do this in your traditional weekly shonen, which is maybe what sets
Yeah.
it apart. Like imagine if fucking Blackbeard showed up in chapter 30 of One Piece.
Yeah.
Assuming Blackbeard's your final villain in One Piece.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like fucking
No,
imagine Madara popped up in chapter 30 of original Naruto.
That'd be hilarious.
It would be. It would be really funny,
It'd be
right?
really funny.
At the end of like academy exams, Madara just goes, "Yo, what up, homie?" and leaves.
Like I can't even make the Aizen comparison because Aizen's not the final villain of
What do you mean?
Bleach.
No.
That's kind of what Itachi did though for Sasuke. He just kind of showed up and was like, "Oh, hey Sasuke,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put the fear of God into you and make a problem. This is a
And
mystery
that-
mouse tool we'll use for later."
And
guess-
then leaves.
I guess the argument in contrast to that is that those are all really long manga, so you will go through lots of antagonists, whereas like Sakamoto might not be that long. It might not hit 400 chapters. So like you could theoretically keep this villain for that long.
This episode like was really neat. Like I like what we got with Shin. I think all the stuff with Shin. I think we finally like hit like this is the climax of what the last 2 episodes have been building to. It's only the second time we've had it, but I'm not a fan of Skinny Sakamoto. I think it's infinitely more interesting seeing him. I think it helps with like the comedy the inherent comedy that is big guy Sakamoto going absolutely ham.
Yeah.
And it feels kind of like cheating in a way for him to get the skinny the way he does.
I
don't like the first fight was like, and it's like my brain would go, it should be a thing that's held off from like the really major difficult fights, and this didn't. Neither of these fights that he's done it in have felt. I mean, I guess you could argue with him. The fuck was the first? What was his name? Whatever. The guy with the balls.
Boiled.
Yeah, Boiled. Like it's like that was a connection to his past when he was skinny. That's like something there. This didn't feel like a fight he needed to go skinny in, and it felt kind of weird to have it there.
I
don't know.
think so. I think I agree with you on the. I do think when you get skinny Sakamoto, it turns off the comedy. Which I think that's intentional though.
Yeah.
Like I think you do this to signify like we're serious now, like we're not screwing around. I think it happened with Boiled because you had to establish that that's like Sakamoto waking up, right? Like he has to. This is him getting his head back in the game because stuff is serious. And here I think the argument is he's on a timetable. Can he
Yeah.
win that fight in under 20 minutes if he doesn't get serious? But I get you. I can see. I am also not the biggest fan of the concept of you have a character who you design as being chubby and you slim them down. I'm never really a fan of that concept. Like I will say that's a really fair critique of this show is that Sakamoto's an interesting character when he's just him, and slimming him down back to like this without also giving you a really good reason as to why or how. I feel like we still haven't
It's like, oh,
necessarily
he just
gotten it. He
does
just
some
does it.
exercise.
Yeah.
And like, if we haven't, like, it's like, okay, you could like maybe see it's like, oh, it got like he takes some. Especially the fight against Boiled takes a while. That is a long fight.
Yeah.
This is 5 minutes. His fight is quite literally 5 minutes in World. And it's I don't know. Like, it's not a bad thing. It's just that's I personally just like I see Skinny and I'm like, eh. I like the bit we get with it. That is the where is he? As he's just sitting there next to him.
Yeah.
Like it is a funny bit
Yeah.
that comes from it, but
We do also get I say it turns off comedy, but there are still comedic moments in that fight, like when he throws people at Sakamoto and Sakamoto just catches them, and resolves all their conflicts while doing so. But like I think the comedy's different when he switches.
yeah. I just like big man Sakamoto. He's a silly guy.
Do we have other Sakamoto thoughts, or are we moving on to our last show of the night?
No, it was kind
Crazy.
of
Nah.
lit.
Show good.
Sakamoto good.
Time to talk about a
Okay.
show that has a range of feelings. Hey, Michael, it's Medalist time.
Ah, yes. Medalist. Episode starts. We get a short little recap of exactly how last episode ended. We see he's like, yeah, just focus on staying on whatever part of the skate and go ham. And she goes bet, and then she falls over. Because she's like she's like, damn, what the hell? How did I go that fast? And she starts her performance. And it feels like our first time getting like actually watching the entirety of someone's performance. Like I know we've gotten it before, but like this one in particular, you could like really like the whole thing is on screen essentially.
Yeah.
As the performance is going, she starts like getting in the zone. She's like, wait, if I just like try to repeat that thing I did, I can go like really fast. Is this how people skate? Was I just missing it this whole time?
Oh man, that thing he's been telling me the entire
Yeah.
time. I should probably listen to him.
Yeah. And then she goes, but like trying to like keep my weight on the inside of my skate this long, my legs jelly. Yeah, keep putting all your body weight on the inside of your leg. That's a lot of fucking work. There's a lot of weights going there.
Especially in motion for that long. Oh my god.
Yeah. But then she also goes like, wait, but like if I like do it this way specifically, wait, that kind of like relieves some of the pressure I'm putting on if I do it like actually correctly. So she gets through her performance. She goes ham. She goes crazy. She absolutely nails it.
She does do the
she
little
gets-
bit where she slows herself to mimic his movements that she saw, where like she like kind of leans into being a little more graceful, and
Yeah,
like
during the steps,
Mhm.
because
yeah,
More
Okay, 'cause it-
performative.
because
Yeah.
we learned there is a
Like her-
forced step section that is a like actual like proper dance portion of it. It's not just hey go out there do some jumps. That's it. That's your whole performance.
but
It's in, like
she
level
and-
2+ right? That's what she said.
I don't.
yeah he says that
I don't
It's-
remember.
he says that this is
Going
mandatory in everything going forward.
Yeah.
But it's neat because she like perfectly replicates his movements.
Yeah, and then they do the thing where like it shows her doing it, and then it like flashes him from when we saw in like episode like 2 or whatever doing that forever. Oh my god. But she gets some of the performance. She get and as she's going to get off the ice, we as we see her get her, you're like, oh no, there's something like immediately vibes her off.
Is she-
And she fucking face plants. Her legs gone. She's her legs have become actual jello at this point. So she gets off the ice. Tsukasa grabs her, and as they're running out, you hear her score over the PA. It is a 24.33. I want to say it is.
3-2.
I know.
25. Or,
No, hers is a 24.
hers is 20.
Hers is 24.
Hers is a 24. I knew hers was a 24 and in the low 30s.
24 something. Either way.
Yeah.
She do good. She did a
Um,
good.
Like I know it's not as high of a 30 as the person who was in first, but she's an entire point above anyway. Doesn't matter. Yeah, she goes ham. She go crazy. Go stupid. And Tsukasa brings her to the nurse, and the nurse goes, you probably just like sprained your ankle. And she goes, yeah. And then he's in there like, yeah, but like sometimes I'll get these like pains in my legs, but like they go away after I warm up. And Tsukasa goes, fuck, that's bad. He goes, what is that? And the nurse goes, it's probably shin splints. And he goes, what's a shin splint? And Tsukasa goes, don't worry about it right now. I'll explain it later.
My brother gets. They suck.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
They're not
now.
fun.
Ass, bro.
Yeah. And he goes, so could I like go watch Emma perform? And Tsukasa goes, oh yeah, we absolutely do that. So they get up there right as Emma's about to perform. Get a little cute moment between Inori and the guy who owns the rink that she goes to. And then Emma starts.
No, but she doesn't start yet. She doesn't start yet.
Oh, do we still get? Oh, we still get like a little bit between Emma and the Emma
we
and
get
her
the
coach.
we get
A little
yes, and we get
flashback.
the coach flashback.
Mm,
So we get the
Oh
flash.
yeah, we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember this, or do you want?
I vaguely remember what happens in it because it's a lot of the
The school says, hey, she hasn't progressed as much as any other student does, and we get so many students that you need to tell her to switch to a different coach in a different school. And he kind of has the paper for it, and he goes out to talk to her, and she's sitting there, and he's like, why haven't you eaten your food yet? And she goes, well,
yeah.
yeah, but this is why I want to talk about this, because this scene fucking hurts. She goes, well, when I eat, I get taller, and I hurt, so I can't skate. And if I have to choose between eating and skating, I'd rather skate, so I just won't eat.
Face.
And he goes,
Yeah.
hey, no, see, what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna make you the best skater no matter how fucking tall you are, and you're never gonna say something that dumb ever again. And she goes, okay.
That was pretty rad to me.
mm.
God, dude.
Yeah.
And then she skates.
Yeah, then she skates. And we get a whole bunch of characters kind of get like as she's performing. Big comment. If she's going ham. We get like a little cutscene about like from like even side effects of her as this is going on. Even the music that is for her routine perfectly fits the scene that is happening around her. This performance is fucking phenomenal. Holy shit, this entire performance is so good. I love the comments from the little shit on the side, Seta or whatever her name is. I don't remember. The creature, as we had been calling them last
La
episode.
Creatura.
It's like, damn, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I am bad at this. Maybe there are people who are like actually just better than me at this kind of thing. Hold up. Yeah, Emma absolutely crushes it. She's like, because like the whole thing is that like, yes, she's been at this level for a while, but that means she's mastered and perfected every single one of the things that is legal at this set. They're like, because she does like a double Sal cow or whatever, double one of the jump types.
Double
they're
flip,
like-
double toe loop,
Oh yeah, it's a double into a
I
double.
think it's a loop to loop and pull.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and your shoes are looking cool.
yeah,
were
and they're
looking
like,
for
damn,
it.
that is like the absolute hardest thing you are allowed to do at this level, and she made it look effortless. I think we're cooked. And rightfully so, they are cooked. She gets like a 25-3 something.
I think we're cooked, chat.
She gets a 25 like 0.36
She's just better.
or whatever. She
Mind
gets
you-
in the 25. She absolutely smokes the competition.
Still
It's
a
crazy.
third of the actual good scores.
I
Not-
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
That's because she's legally not allowed to do the tricks that will get you some of those scores.
Yeah.
But yeah. Emma cooks. We get a good moment between her and the coach. It's like, oh yeah, Emma cooks. She go crazy. And then Idori has to go. They get on the cab to go home. It may have actually been before this. Because Sakasa's like, no, they get on the cab to then go get on the train.
Yeah.
Get a cab, go like 7 stations down. Get on the train. As they're on the train, Sakasa's like, Idori, you're not skating for the next like 2 months. And she goes, oh, what do you mean? And he goes, so shin splints, bad. They happen when you overwork your muscles to like a way too bad of a point. And if you were to keep working on them, they would just get worse. And we don't want that.
Basically, it's like your muscles get swollen, and then it causes strain on your bones because of it. So it causes like pressure, mainly like found in the shins. And then because of that, like if you keep the pressure up, eventually that pressure is going to literally crack your bones and cause a fracture.
Yeah.
Is what is happening.
A
Mhm.
pressure fracture.
Which would
like-
take her out of the sport longer. So
And the
it's
compression
better.
fracture will fuck you up,
Yeah.
by the way, if that is what
Yeah.
happens. Those are the long healy ones.
Yeah.
You're better off breaking your foot in that case.
Yeah, and we get the really good reaction from Minori of this. He's just like, okay, I trust you. I believe you here. I'm not gonna push past anything. It's like, damn, look at her being greatest protagonist to ever exist, listening to people.
And she also is like, I also realize that I can take a step back and like work on understanding the things I need to be working on so that I can master them. Because if I don't master the
Yeah.
stuff here, I'm not gonna be able to compete at that level.
Yeah, and she understands. She is like 4 years behind on all the people she's trying to compete with at this point.
Yeah.
And she can't realistically make that up. So she needs to like figure out something else to kind of make up this gap that she has. And it's a really good scene. Also, she gets her she gets awarded her silver medal on the train. Because she got second.
It's
But
adorable.
because she had an injury, she wasn't going to be on
Missed
podium.
yeah.
And as Kazu's like,
He does do that.
It's great.
It's great. It's a moment.
Yep, we were a little bit more.
Yeah, we get like a post credits, I think, here.
We get a pre-post credits and we get a little bit more too.
Because the post credits I want to see. Yeah, we absolutely get a post credits because the fucking episode ends with the small
Yes.
child saying "you bitch."
Yeah.
I did
Whatever.
not see this.
Oh,
I
oh,
did
you
not
should.
see this.
very
It's,
last
it's good.
couple
You should
seconds.
watch that. So
Oh,
before,
right before
before this, yeah.
Yeah, so we cut back to the tournament or the competition, and we see the other person who has Emma's coach, the other girl. Don't remember her name. But it's like she goes on. She's like, yeah, I'm a cook. Is like, I gotta show you. I'm gonna be the new queen of Class B or whatever. Or whatever the ranking's technically called. And she goes, then we get I think it just goes to ED there.
There's a couple of small things. We know the two speed skaters are
yeah.
properly moving into Emma's school. Not Emma's.
The small
black-
purple haired
yeah.
girl.
Yeah, and she gets really
Yeah.
annoyed constantly because they won't leave her alone.
Yeah.
We get, I want to say before credit roll, we get the bit where Tsukasa meets up with him, the other Yudai, and he thanks him. I want to say that happens
that
before.
is
Hey,
Post.
Is it
I
post?
suppose.
I'm literally watching
okay.
it
Okay,
right
So
now.
it's
I'm
post.
because he gives him some cookies.
Yeah.
And it's like this really funny bit where that happens, where like a bunch of people around them are like,
What's he doing
"What's happening over there?" Ugh. As he's giving him like some cookies.
What was going on there looks kind of gay.
But yeah, but then they make like a little deal with each other. I don't remember exactly what it is.
He says the cookies aren't enough. He wants him to show. They want them to prove that Inori, like to wow them when they meet up at the next competition.
Yeah, the All Japans in like
Yeah.
a year or whatever. Like it's gonna be like a decent chunk of time before Idori's back in a competition at this point. And then I think we cut back to the competition. Like we go back in time a bit here.
I think it's a different one. Because here's the argument. Hikaru's not there at the one
Oh,
that
yeah,
they're at.
yeah,
So
we-
this is a different
yeah.
competition. That like
Right.
they are at the same level at, where we see the other girl from Emma's school competing against her.
We see that girl and Hikaru are both on the podium. Hikaru's at number 1, girl the number 2 on it. And then we also see who, like, if you would like connect it from the opening, the small blonde kid who her introduction is to Inori going, "I don't know who you are. Shut the fuck up, little bitch." It's actually not actually, but it's like, if I don't know who you are, it means you don't matter.
Yeah.
And we see his coach, I think it's like his dad or his coach, maybe both.
I think it's his grandfather.
I don't know.
They are related.
Gray-haired man who is connected to him vaguely.
Mm.
It's like congratulating Hikari, and then it just fades to black, and he just goes, "You bitch," and I'm like, bro, you crazy way to just cap off an episode. This episode's fucking phenomenal.
Dude.
It's so fucking good.
God, this is so good.
Why can't
So-
Eggy do this all the time?
Quick thing as well. A thing that I've been meaning to say for the past couple of weeks and I kept forgetting. We just have a baby version of Jolene Cujo in this show.
Yeah.
Like she's
I see
even
it.
from like the Star figure skating company or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that and being like, okay, this is absolutely a JoJo's reference now. Cool. But no. Aside from that, Medalist, very, very good. I cry almost every week watching this show.
A scene that we like loosely talked about, but we didn't talk about the part that I really like about it. When he is carrying Inori to the back room, they announce her score, and neither of them react to it. They do not care. They probably hear it. They probably recognize, oh, she's in first, but they do not care. There is no like you are watching them moving to to go to get her checked out, and neither of them stop and look or say anything. They are focused, and I think that's fucking wonderful. Cause like that's important. Some people would stop. That's not what these two are about. They are worried about her well-being and moving forward, and that captures that really well. Bro, fucking everything with Emma this episode is incredible. We talked a lot last week of like, what do you do to like wrap this competition? Where is Inori's placing good? Like, in what ways does losing or winning work out? And this is perfect. This is fucking exactly where you want to take this story and the direction you want to go. And the drastic contrast between Emma off the ice and on the ice is wonderful. She fucking kills it. I have like 25 more things I could gush about.
No, I mean, Medalist is awesome this week. That's why it's
Yeah.
at the top. Like, the competition was good. I think the CG actually holds up really well in this show, as it always has. And I mean, like, Inari did great, and then she hurt herself, so it's gonna be like, okay, I need a break, and I'm interested to see, like I said, like, what do you do next though? Now that Inari's on break, do you just cut to the next time she can practice? Do you like ease her back into it? Like, what's the plan, right? And like obviously we saw her working out at home, which is really cute. I don't know if that band wouldn't just cause the table to slide though, like with how much it's stretching, but that's okay. That's neither here nor there.
There's also like the potential. There's also like the potential to just like bolted into the ground or something.
I could see getting a little bit of cooldown with like Inori at home with her family, with like her classmates, like to show her growth outside of skating, that I think could be really interesting. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna be doing or like how much time we're gonna be passing. I'm really interested to see what the play is here.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where my brain sees, like, I see this and I go, this felt like where you place like the end of a season. Like this is like very clear. Like you go, okay, this is like you have a break now. You can start a new season with like a little, like a slow, like, oh, and she's practicing again or doing some slice of life stuff. I trust the show. I trust that they're doing good stuff here. It just felt very strange, and I was like, damn, that felt like where you just go, okay, we're good, and we're done for now. We wait 6 months and we get some more, or 3 years or whatever.
God, I hope not. God, please,
That's it.
God, no.
God,
Please.
with the fucking way
Please.
anime release, who fucking does?
I mean, I legitimately also don't know. Like, I know how much is out, but I don't know how much in terms of actual content is in how much is out. So it is tricky.
Yeah.
God, when Emma does her big jump, that they're like when she does that first jump, that she goes really high. That camera work is so good to express how high she gets. Because you know immediately upon seeing it, like how fucking stellar she did for that jump. God, that's...
So good, man. She deserved all the medal.
I could watch this show like 7 times, and it would never start fucking like waning on me on how much I like it. I think this is one of those shows that I could definitely rewatch over and enjoy every element of it again and again and again.
Can't think of a funny name. It's the hard part.
Yeah.
I got one immediately.
Yeah. That's enough of a piece of abysmal dog shit of a name. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I
Yeah, I'll
said
send
too.
that one in.
Yeah, that's good, Michael.
Comically incorrect buzzer sound.
Results are in. ZENSHU and Medalist have no slays. Crash at Work and Sakamoto have 2 slays.
Sakamoto, what?
Flower and Asura have 4 slays. Have 4 slays. It is going off this week. No one killed Unio. That's right. We respect QJ's decision. We also spare him this week. It would be rude of us to do otherwise. So yeah, I mean, it sure is gonna be Sakamoto days and Crush at Work next week probably as the what gets into top 3, unless ZENSHU is doing some funky shit. It's not.
Thing is that like
impossible.
the problem. Yeah, I'm not putting that like out of the realm of possibility though.
It's always
Considering, like,
possible.
how all over the place the last 3 episodes have been. It's like they totally could.
They could
I
just
don't
give
want
me.
them to, but they totally could.
They could just recap the end half of the. They could spend the back half of next week's episode recapping shit, and I would fucking shoot it dead. You never know. Anything could happen. Not so could turn into a potato, and
Anything could, but doesn't mean anything should.
you never know. They could play Mahjong next week. It'd be a win
Am I
for
still the
me, but
one
only
that
me.
doesn't have a show?
Yes. It worked out that way. I'm sorry. Don't worry.
Okay.
Next week somebody else will not have a show. That is how numbers work.
Yeah.
When we get to top 3, 2 people will not have a show, which is honestly better than some seasons. Because some seasons 3 people don't have a show when we get to top 3. So, have we ever had a season where it's only been one person? I don't think we've ever been that
No,
dire.
I think we definitely have had a few like
Twos and ones.
two for one
You
person.
mean one person
but-
finale?
Yeah, physically impossible with 5 people. But
Well, it's technically
No,
not because
you
no
get-
one
Entire
gets
Lily
a
was
wheel.
a terrible
true,
episode.
the wheel. I forgot.
But like, imagine if you Bochi got like a Bochi the Rock on the wheel. You know, it's honestly doable.
Well, like, there's an argument, like, if you have 3 stellar picks back when there were 4 of us, you could have theoretically done it. But we don't. None of us are built like that. All of us always decide to pick one bad show because it's fun.
Yeah, you gotta find like. I think there is just as much in picking the worst show, the first to go show, as there is in getting the best show.
You
I don't,
you
bro.
get to
I
force
just
a
like watching
very
more
funny
Friends,
conversation. I mean, I will say, Momentary Lily's the absolute roast of
God.
Momentary Lily that was the first episode of this podcast is a great time.
That was
It
one of the most.
was.
So fucking.
See,
funny.
but I also appreciate when we pick a show that we think is going to be good, and it also gets that level eventually where you're like, oh, you fucked up. Those
Yeah,
conversations.
Joron episode 4.
I'm thinking like Bushigiri. I'm thinking like Bushigiri, because that show fucking infuriated me to no end.
Yeah.
And I think about Wonder Egg, and we should never have something as depressing as that ever happen again in the history of this podcast.
Yeah.
God, I'm sad that there's no like recording of us like reacting to the special for Wonder Egg.
God, I
Dude,
remember.
Oh man.
You truly could not recreate how upsetting that experience was.
I think it was. So I want to say we watched it in like 2. I want to say I just watched it with Sean or whatever
I think so.
when I watched it, and I
Yeah, I
just
know
remember
Sean
us getting
watched it.
24 minutes in and going, "Oh no, that was actually just a recap."
Mm-hmm.
Dear God.
And then arguably what you get after the recap is worse.
Yeah, it
Somehow.
it just
bad.
makes even
It
less sense.
causes more questions
Yeah,
than it.
They answer
answers.
nothing. I mean, like, they answer one thing. They do answer
They answer
that
something
the
you
teacher was
Simulation.
weird, and also her also the friend was
They
even
basically
weirder.
go, hey, this is all a simulation.
But not really.
But like also not just like that one person that was your friend.
It is crazy
sh-
because like there are some Wonder Egg's a perfect example, and we're in the podcast after this, but Wonder Egg's a perfect example of when people say shows should have an ending. Like a show that doesn't get to end, that's the worst fate possible. No, actually you're wrong. A show can wind up be in a production cycle where they go, actually you don't get 24, you get 12, and the creator goes, okay, I'll figure something out. And it can wind up much better than what Wonder Egg Priority wound
Yeah,
up.
I wonder if there's a
Mhm.
the particular show you're making reference to when you say that exact specific set of scenario. I wonder where that could possibly be, Sean.
Am I still very upset that I'm never going to get the remaining 12 episodes of Stars Align? Absolutely.
Yes.
Does Stars Align ending make you go, what the fuck? And then you go, I have to accept this. This is my fate now? Yes. Absolutely. As that show does inherently always. Isn't it crazy that there is a show about boys playing soft tennis, and I have to tell you that there is content warning for that show? Oh, you might not have known that, Mason. Oh, that's
I
a
did not.
that Mason. Eventually, one day, when I sit you down to watch that show, I'm gonna warn you ahead of time. I'm just gonna say, Mason, please be in a good headspace. If you're not, we'll stop.
Okay.
And
Stars Alliance a fucking good shit.
it's something, all right. I love it. I adore it. Did it win
Soft
that
tennis
season?
boys.
Did it win that season?
I want to say it was definitely in top 3,
Yeah.
but I
think-
want to say that was like one of the really fucked seasons.
No, I think
But that was all of the seasons at that.
I think everybody still was able to like fight it, where we were like, actually, no, this is fine. Like this deserves. Because what? Hold on, let me pull it up right
Wasn't
now.
in the season with.
Yep.
That's the actual important thing.
Fall 2019. Bookworm was here, but I don't think Bookworm made top 3, which I remember being a contentious thing.
They just like, yeah, our top 3 would have been, I think, no, it didn't win. This is when Sherlock was running.
Right, this was one of the classic. This was the classic
this was
second
Sherlock,
place victory.
Orisuke, Stars Align, top 3.
This was the
Oh
class.
my
This was the
God.
classic. We are split on what your number 1 show is. Your number 2 show wins.
This was the first season we ever did.
Officially,
with me.
officially, yeah.
Like fully recorded.
Yeah.
And I want to say the only episode of that ever got released was the first one. Because this was back when you were trying to like actually fully edit the audio and like take out like empty space.
I unironically might have this somewhere though.
Because this was the season with Africa no Salary Man,
Like,
which I know was our first one.
I arguably probably have all the parts of these audio recordings and would just need to put. So if you don't understand what Michael meant by that, I recorded my audio and I recorded everybody else's audio. And I would match my audio with their audio in Audition and edit the audio levels. And it would go up as an audio file on YouTube. It turns out, when you are a college student, you don't have time to do that. To get it
Crazy
out,
concept.
to get it out posted weekly. Yeah. So if you're curious what wonderful shows were on this season, Assassin's Pride, Stand My Hero. Is this? Yeah, Stand My Heroes was here, right? That's not. Yeah. Yeah. So it would have been Stand My
maybe?
Heroes, Piece of Truth, Assassin's Pride. Special 7, which if you don't know what Special 7 is, hold on, give me 1 second.
Not to be confused with Showgoat, Idly
Special
Pride.
7 Special Crime Investigation Unit. Rifle is Beautiful. Azure Lane.
Azure Lane.
Azure Lane. mobile game.
Africa No Salary Man. Babylon.
So much of that shit.
Babylon. No Guns Life.
Oh my god, that was
Sherlock.
Oh my god.
Yes. Orisuki. And Stars
Is
Align.
Inspector the season after?
Yes. Because this would be... Yes, because this is going to be the... Oh, this is an even better season. This one is Aizukin, Dora Hedoro, It Invaded, Somali, Bofuri. No comments. Science Fell in Love. Oh, maybe it's not. Darwin's Game. No, yeah, Inspector. And Plunderer? And Pet.
And also, if it's Plunder
And
and Pet,
Orphan.
that would have also been
Also
when Orphan
Orphan.
started.
I want you to know the lowest rating show of those shows that were on the podcast is Orphan. That's not right. Orphan is a better show than Plunderer.
Yeah.
I assure you. As is Pet. Pet is also a better show than Plunderer. It is rated lower than Plunderer is.
For anyone attempting to find the Sherlock show, it's not called Sherlock. The actual proper English title is Case File number 221 Kabukicho.
Yes.
The actual show never fucking says the word Sherlock in it. The general Japanese translation from Japanese would be Kabukicho Sherlock.
I don't think any of us ever finished the second half of that show.
No.
I think you and I watched a little of it.
We may have watched like an extra episode past it, because it certainly finished off like the arc with Irene Adler, and she was by far the best character in that story.
So you might be wondering, how scuffed was that season? And
Very.
the answer was that at I want to say week 3 or 4, Babylon had to get voted off because it stopped airing.
It aired through episode 7, and then did not air another episode for like 6 months.
That is funny as fuck, though.
To which then, the following season, Darwin's Game got voted off because it had productions issues and got a recap episode. And so
I wasn't particularly that big of a fan of Darwin's Game. I thought it was.
I mean, it's a
Meh.
perfectly normal killing game show.
Yeah.
Babylon is also the show, notoriously, that I say, holy shit. I don't know how to talk about that show. And I wish anyone else from the season of the podcast finished that show. Because, oh my god. So the plot, this is the last thing. This is the last thing that I promise we're going away for the night. The plot of Babylon is that a small district in Japan wants to make suicide legal. And problems ensue. Because also in existence is a psychopath woman, and problems ensue. That show is unhinged. And I cannot express how the show gets worse every episode somehow. I don't understand how they did it, but they do. The show's opening theme is also 15 seconds. You will never be able to find it on YouTube.
Like the
So, yeah.
beginning opening. It's just like random noises.
Yeah. But ladies and gentlemen, that is our podcast. We will see you next week where we decide top 3.
Yippee.
Woo!
Woo!
Yippee!